The goblins of Cyrodiil. Disgusting creatures. Or are they? They might very well just be disgusting people. Primary evidence to support this conclusion exists in the form of 4 goblin chefs. All unique, all non-respawning, all located in caves full of goblins. They are typically surrounded by food, ingredients, rat carcasses, and usually by large dining halls equipped with cutlery and food on the tables. This points to the existence of a goblin culinary culture. So when I found one of these installations in a recent playthrough, I decided to go to each of them and discover exactly what the goblins were cooking. Then, if I was able, make a meal comprised either of any or all of these ingredients. This I have done. I hope you will enjoy. Welcome to my humble text file. Contained within is the final list of all the ingredients that I was able to collect, both in-game and in real life. We'll start at the top with meat. Now obviously goblins like to cook with rat. It's present at all locations where they have chefs. It's also present in a bunch of other locations where they can be seen raising them and cooking them. Now unfortunately I cannot get rat at the local supermarket, so I had to settle for chicken. According to the internet, that's the meat that was available to me that tasted closest to rat. Now let's move on to vegetables. We have carrots, corn, onion, apple, lettuce, garlic, leek, radish, rice, portobello mushrooms, and enoki mushrooms. Now, first note, obviously, apple is a fruit, but one fruit, I'm not making a separate category for that. And at the bottom we have the portobello and enoki mushrooms. Portobello I chose because it's closest to cairn bolete cap, which is a mushroom found in many caves across Cyrodiil, including caves in which goblin chefs are present. Same with wisp stalk caps. I'm using enoki Japanese mushrooms because physically they look very similar to wisp stalk. Now let's move down to herbs and other. We have fennel seeds, lavender, ginseng, fire salts, ginkgo leaf, and wine. Now all of these are present in Cyrodiil, but not next to the goblin chefs. The reason I'm choosing to use those is because goblins don't seem to like to season their meals whatsoever. With the exception, I suppose, of garlic. So fennel seeds, lavender, ginseng, fire salts, ginkgo, all present in the world. Now wine actually is present around goblins on several occasions in the game. You can find goblins who have drunk themselves to death. You can find goblins in caves in which there is wine present and they're not dead because of it. So I figured all of these things were fair. Now on to the gathering. We have gone first to Fort Urasek, or rather the dungeons beneath Fort Urasek. We've encountered the goblin chef. He is a hostile mob, so we're going to beat him up. He's kind of slippery. Now to his workstation. First thing you'll notice, rat roasting over a fire. So that's our chicken. We're going to take that. Now on his table, his workstation, he's got some rat meat, but he's got carrot, onion, and corn. That's what we're going to be able to get from Fort Urasek. For reference, here's Fort Urasek on the map of Cyrodiil. You can find it east of the Imperial city. And now we're on to Cracked Wood Cave. We've entered the cave, and there's a goblin chef. He is engaged in some fairly intelligent goblin behavior. He's a hostile mob, so you'd expect him to turn and fight, or if he's going to run to save his own skin. He's not doing either of these things. He's in fact running to alert the other goblins in the cave to the fact that I'm here. He succeeds in doing this. I don't hunt him down fast enough. He ends up spawning about 3 guys who give me a good 2 to 3 minute fight. Goblins are real bastards in this game. Anyway, let's skip to the ingredients. And now we're back in the kitchen. Now you can see he's got the roasting rat over the fire, but we've already got our meat. He has an apple, and we don't have any apple yet, although we do have carrot and onion. He also has stashed in the other room some lettuce and some pumpkin. We're not going to take the pumpkin, but we are going to take the lettuce. And with that, we can move on to our next objectives, right after showing you where this place is on the map. And here we are at Cracked Wood Cave, on the yellow road that leads down to Leeuwin. Now here we are in Derelict Mine. Oh yes, another goblin chef. And yes, he does also succeed in humiliating me by drawing attention to the other goblins. But no matter. Back in his kitchen we find it extremely well stocked. We're here for garlic, leek, and radish. Although you can see he has other foodstuffs that we've already collected. along with a shepherd's pie. Not sure I'd be willing to eat that though, made by a goblin. And by plucking the radish from the table where it sits on a plate, we are done with this place. I'll show you where it is on a map, and then we can go to the last cave we need to search. Derelict Mine is located on the Gold Road immediately east of Skingrad. It's very likely that you'll run into it in the course of your playthrough. And now on to our final goblin chef, who is already dead in the cave before I arrived. He does, however, have rice on him, which we are going to take and make use of. And while we're in Shinbone Cave, let's take the opportunity to harvest some mushrooms, wisp stalk, and cairn bullet. And with those in our possession, we can start hunting down the various herbs and other ingredients we need to make our meal. And again, if you're interested, this is the location of Shinbone Cave, just off the ring road, near the yellow road that goes down to Leowin. Next up, we're headed out into the wilds of Cyrodiil, and we're here to collect some lavender. There it is. If you want to find lavender, you have to go to the Nibene Basin, which makes up most of eastern Cyrodiil. After this, we're off to the Gold Coast to collect some other ingredients. Ah, the Gold Coast. We're north of Kvatch, and we're going to pick up some fennel here. Just a little bit more of it. Oh, don't mind the dead bandit over there, she got in the way. And traveling just a short way southwest, we come upon a patch of ginseng. We're going to pick up some of this, and then it's off to Skingrad to pick up some more ingredients. Okay, I lied. On the way, we're going to have to pick up salts. So I need you to enter the gaping maw of hell and track down a fire Atronak to get some salts from her. I know it's a bit of an ask. Most of the grocery stores are closed, what with the coronavirus and everything, but you can go straight to the source and pick some up. So that's what we're going to do. Thanks to Mehrunes Dagon and his Plane of Oblivion, we can exit this place equipped with some nice fire salts. That's going to be very handy for seasoning. Let's get out of here and leave this very distressed guardsman to his business. And now back in civilization, we head to the Mages Guild in Skingrad. We know that there is ginkgo leaf here. Now ginkgo leaf doesn't grow naturally in Cyrodiil, but there are examples that you can track down in the world. They can also be sold randomly by alchemical vendors. We'll head up to the second floor, and if we turn to the left, we can find it on a shelf. Oh, is that fire salts? We didn't need to go to hell to get it? Oh well. And now for the wine. I was thinking a bottle of Cyrodiil Brothers 415 vintage. Skingrad really is the best place to go and pick that up. They have the two wineries here, Cyrodiil Brothers and Tamika's. So naturally I went to the Westweald Inn, spoke to its proprietor and thought I would buy some wine for her, but unfortunately, she isn't selling. Thankfully there's another inn in Skingrad, the Two Sisters, and they were more than happy to sell me some wine. So, having picked up my wine, I set back to do some cooking, at long last. And here we are, in the kitchen. I've assembled all my ingredients, and now all that remains is to prepare it into a fine meal. So, from left to right, we've got chicken in a pot. We have rice behind it in a cup. We've got our Cyrodiil Brothers Vintage 415. On the cutting board, we've got the Enoki Mushrooms, apples, garlic, portobello, radish, lettuce, and onions. Behind the onions, we've got our tea. Now, it's ginseng and ginkgo leaf. That's where they got incorporated into the meal. You're going to see tea on the menu when it's all done. There's carrots beside it. We've got fennel seeds and Himalayan pink fire salt. In front of the board, we've got corn, leek, and fresh lavender up there on the right-hand side. All of that coming together to make a lovely 3-course meal. And the first of those courses is a salad. Now, I had relatively few ingredients available to make this salad. We do have lettuce though, so I used iceberg. Now, why would you use iceberg? Because it's what the Goblin Chef had. So just fairly simple cuts on the iceberg. I'm putting the radishes in the salad too, top and tailing them, then just making fairly reasonable bite-sized chunks of it that'll go into the salad. And finally, we're going to use the apple. Just taking 4 sides off it and slicing it into thin slices. Now the downside of this salad is that it doesn't actually have a dressing. It's a dry salad. I don't like that, but I didn't have what I thought were adequate resources to make a salad dressing. That's fine. If you want to try it for yourself, obviously do it with a dressing. Now let's talk about the chicken. There it is in the pan. The seasoning on top is going to be salt, fennel seeds, lavender, and garlic. And garlic and onion are going to be stuffed inside it. And here it is prepared for the oven. Looks pretty good if I do say so myself. I cooked it at 375 Fahrenheit for an hour and a half. It ended up pretty much exactly where I wanted it. Your mileage may vary though. Now let's talk about the third course. This would be the soup. It is by far the most involved course I made, and it's the course I was the happiest with too. So you can see that I'm cutting up the leeks and the onions, and not very small chunks, fairly large, the kind you'd want to have on a spoon in a soup. Same with both mushrooms. We've got the portobellas I'm chunking. And the enoki mushrooms, I more or less just cut off the ends of them and threw them in. How they turned out was kind of like long pastas, like a linguine or something like that. And it actually gave some pretty good texture to the soup. I was very happy with it. Now, the carrots, again, you get exactly what you want out of carrots, but between the carrots and the corn, it was actually a pretty sweet soup. Not unbearably sweet, I don't think. The garlic certainly helped with that. But it was not as entirely savory as you might expect. And I was very happy to use some fresh lavender. I was walking through the store and happened to notice in the plant section there was a lavender plant, and I went, aha! I know that lavender grows in Cyrodiil. We're definitely going to be using that. Now, soup making is a delicate process. We take a little bit of salt, throw it in there. Take a little bit of fennel, throw it in there. Take hold of our other soup ingredients, pick it up, throw the entire fucking thing in there. No hesitation. That's exactly how you want to make soup right there. Oh yes. Now, of course, when you're making soup, you want to make sure you check it frequently and stir it. Make sure it's cooking evenly, make sure all the flavors are coming together, add salt and fennel if needed, which I did on multiple occasions. Now how about the chicken? It's in at the exact same time. Down here we have a look at our magnificent chicken. It's not done yet, but it is coming along. And in the intervening time I threw together the salad. Bare bones, but pretty enjoyable. Don't mind the foot. Before you know it, the chicken is going to be done. Now I took it out and temped it. My rule of thumb is 160 Celsius in the deepest part of the meat you can find. You can see we were at 184, so that's well good enough. But what did you do with the wine, I can hear you asking? Well, a little bit earlier in the soup process, I added some to the soup. Wine does well in soup, I find, so you give a little to the soup, and then you give a little bit to the chef. I also decided to use the wine to make a gravy. We have the chicken juices there, add a little wine, heat it, and we're gonna get a gravy pretty soon. And here it is after a few minutes of stirring and cooking. Pretty simple gravy, but it doesn't really need to be complicated. Now let's go back to when I was adding the rice along with the rest of the vegetables. I'm doing this because I want to talk about the wine that I used for this meal. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's nothing special, it's from one of the local vineyards around here, or I ought to say in the province. Sorelli Brothers Vintage 415, it is not, but any old wine will do, I suspect. Now let's talk about the second drink for the meal. That would be the French side of it. Ginseng and ginkgo leaf in this tea. I saw that combination and I knew I had to have it for the meal. Otherwise, pretty standard tea. And here we are at the end with the finished product. As you can see, we've got the plates in front of us with the salad and the half chicken that I cut down the center. We've got wine in cups because I don't own any wine glasses. We've got the cups of tea, we've got gravy in this center cup ready to be poured on the chicken, and the 2 bowls of soup with the wine between them. I really like how this turned out. I'm extremely happy with it. I don't know what else to say other than that. Try it yourself. I urge you. I'll put the recipe in the description. Let me know how it turns out, and let me know if you have any other suggestions for how to change this meal and make it better for other people to use. Till then, I've been Fang, and I will catch you next time.